feel like every year people go more and more all out for Valentine's Day. But I think it comes to a point where we have to question how much of it is performative and how much of it is out of actual love. Hi, welcome to Touching Grass, your digital escape. I'm your host, Sophia. And on this podcast, I take a look at conversations online and try and give a little bit more of a grounded take from all of the noise, as well as just exploring the human experience. On today's episode, I wanted to talk about the consumerism of Valentine's Day and how that can impact people's relationships without taking away the fact that you can still celebrate. I still remember the first time that I had a friend come up to me and tell me that her boyfriend hadn't asked her to be her Valentine this year. And she asked me what I thought about that. And the reality is, I personally don't care. I think it's kind of implied with being someone's girlfriend. But the thing is, my opinion does not matter because I'm not his girlfriend. And while I do think this topic of asking someone to be your Valentine, at least I haven't heard of it until more recent times, I think it's not so much about whether or not you should or should not do it. As I told my friend, he should know you enough to know whether or not you want to be asked to be his Valentine. I think online, we have all these rules now of what people tell you love looks like. If he's not buying you flowers, he doesn't love you. If he doesn't ask you to do this, he doesn't love you. I think the thing is, we are all different people and we all have different preferences and different things that we like. And I think that's the number one and most crucial thing to remember. Your partner needs to know you enough to know what you want and what makes you feel loved. And my opinion should not be having a place in your relationship. Just because I don't care if someone asks me to be their Valentine doesn't mean that your boyfriend shouldn't. Because if you want that, then they should know you enough to ask. I also want to be clear that I'm not saying that you can't ask your friends or talk to them about your relationship, but what's specific here is that I'm a stranger, and the majority of people you see online are strangers. When we scroll, we're just constantly getting bombarded with people that you don't even know if you would take advice from if you actually knew them in real life. So they don't need to dictate what your relationship should and should not look for. And even with your friends, at the end of the day, take the advice with a grain of salt, because we all project our own insecurities, our own perspectives of life, and our own experiences onto each other. So with that, you don't need to look like what your friends' relationships look like. You don't need to look like what a stranger's relationship look like. It's all about your dynamic and what you need to feel loved. Valentine's Day, just like every other holiday, is based in consumerism. Now, I want to be very clear. I am not saying that is an excuse to not celebrate. One thing my mom always told me to be careful about is equating this consumerism with love. You know, someone can buy you the biggest bouquet and they can take you to the most fancy dinner and still not be a good partner to you. I remember when I was in undergrad, I had a chocolate strawberries business that I sold during Valentine's Day. And I remember this guy had ordered a box for his girlfriend, and the day of Valentine's Day, he texted me saying that he no longer needed it because they broke up, right? People can buy you these things, and I'm not, putting fault on the relationship and saying that consumerism equals not loving someone, but you have to be careful, because just because someone's buying something doesn't mean that it's all going well. Someone can buy you a designer bag and still cheat. And I'm not saying this to scare you, because there are good people out there that will plan and they will celebrate and they will also be good partners. But what I am saying is that consumerism needs to be tied to thought. And if you love flowers, I hope they buy it for you. And if you love Italian food, I hope they take you out to an Italian dinner. But buying someone who hates chocolate a box of chocolate does not show you love them. And consumerism without intention is not love, it's performance. Materialism is not the same thing as being understood. Online, I see so many takes about what your partner should and shouldn't be doing for you. And there's a million videos of grand gestures to inspire you, but it can also hurt you. I think it's funny the way the internet will judge a lack of extravagance even if it means not being fulfilled. Because I remember, I think it was a few years back now, I don't keep up with the Kardashians, but I saw this reel on Instagram about Kylie Jenner. and they started by showing the roses that Timothy has gotten her, and they're these beautiful large bouquets, which are already much more grand than what normal people are affording. But then at the end, they put all of these roses that Travis had bought her, trying to compare it as if when he decorated her house full of roses and it was so extravagant with these arcs of roses, as if that was so much better and as if that means he loved her more. But your partner, it's not just an extra credit card or your personal shopper or decorator. She clearly seems to have a much happier relationship with Timothy, and people are acting like just because the roses and the bouquet got smaller, it meant the love did, when in her situation, although I don't know anything personally, it seems that she is happier in this. And people want to equate this money to meaning that you have a healthy relationship, and that's just not the case. And I think that's such a great example of this, that you can have the most incredible thing in the world that no other girl gets and still not be happy with your relationship. So just make sure that you're not looking at what these celebrities or these influencers or all these people are getting and comparing yourself, because they are basically an ad as well, right? All these influencers, their job is to perform, and you can't compare yourself to that. And even if you know the person that you're looking at, it doesn't equate to happiness. It doesn't also equate to not being happy, but you just can't look at that and see yourself and wonder, why am I not getting all of these riches? If you're in a healthy relationship, I'm hoping that they will know you enough to create a day that's special for you guys without feeling like it needs to be over the top just so that people will praise your relationship. Buying what you think you're supposed to get your partner is not the same as knowing them. I don't know how many of you guys have watched the show Nobody Wants This, but there's a scene there where the guy always does the same Valentine's Day for all of his partners because he thinks that's what a good boyfriend does. He takes them out to a pasta making class and he does a hot tub with the rose petals and these really big things similar to what you see online, except that that is nothing that his current girlfriend is interested in. And he's confused at the end why she isn't happy with the day. And I think that's such a good example that you can be doing all these things, but if your partner doesn't feel seen and understood, it doesn't matter. Consumerism only feels loving when you can tell that they really put in thought about what you like and what you enjoy. Once I had somebody buy me bath bombs when I couldn't even remember the last time that I had taken a bath. And then last year, I had a guy who I had met 2 weeks before Valentine's Day. And I just kind of figured, like, it's too early, we're not gonna do anything. So I kind of already mentally prepared myself for that. I had already organized a Valentine's Day on the day of Valentine's Day over a month before. And when he found out that I had that, he asked me if we could do a day date instead. On our first date, we had talked about food and such, and he remembered a place I mentioned, looked at the pictures online because it was a quicker spot when he decided that the interior didn't look up to par for me. He looked around to find a nearby park and planned an activity and everything for us to do while there. He even looked to see that if we did stay, which seat at the restaurant we would stay and sit at, if I wanted to stay. I'd only known him for 2 weeks and I had just met him, and yet he showed up with flowers and still planned something. I felt more understood in that moment than I had with people who I had known for over a year. The point is not that Valentine's Day is dumb because it's consumeristic. The point is that true connection does not come from money, it comes from being seen. Choose someone who sees you, not someone who's just trying to put on a performance. And remember, it's also okay to not want the same thing as a person sitting next to you. You have to be so careful comparing your love to what you see online, because the online world is a performance, and it doesn't mean that it's fake, but it also doesn't mean that your life and your love life needs to look like it. You don't need to compare yourself to the decorated rooms with balloons and the streamers and the giant teddy bears and the huge bouquets. Just because someone spent more money does not mean that you are less loved. They say that comparison is a thief of joy, and I think it really can be sometimes. When you have real love, you don't feel the need to compete with others. Especially nowadays, strangers' favorite thing to do is tell everybody else how they should live their life. And you don't even know if they're happy. They might not be in a happy relationship, and maybe they are, but they want different things, and different things make them happy. So don't trust people online to tell you what your relationship needs to look like or what your life needs to look like. You can take advice and you can take inspiration, but they should not dictate what a healthy relationship in your dynamic, what that needs to look like. I love seeing people be loved loudly and proudly, but that can also be displayed in different ways. Your relationship should feel special, which also means that the acts of love within it will be unique and special to you. Like I said earlier, every person is different. Every person has different likes and wants and needs and personality traits, and that is important too. Even outside of Valentine's Day, your relationship is not some handbook that looks like every single other person's in your life. So you don't need to go online and compare yourself to people who aren't you, who don't have your personality or your interests. And you also don't need to think you're better than someone because you got something that they didn't. Your relationship is special. It should feel special, and it should be unique to the two of you. You don't need to invite all of these outside opinions into a relationship that is founded on two specific people different than all the rest. Big gestures aren't bad, but they're also not necessary if it's not something that you want. Don't let other people tell you what you deserve. If you want the big teddy bears and the grand gestures, then I hope you get that. If you are someone who just loves being outside and wants a super casual Valentine's Day, I hope you get that too. But don't let other people tell you that you are less loved because your love doesn't look like theirs. Your love is special to yourself, and you don't need to be told. You can feel it. Your intuition will tell you when things are right and wrong, but that comes with being secure in yourself and being confident that you don't need to perform in order to show love. It's not a competition about being high or low maintenance. It's simply about your interests and what you enjoy. There are two people in a relationship. Those are the ones whose opinions matter. As long as you're not out here asking your partner to go in debt over a Birkin bag, you deserve to be celebrated in the way that makes you feel the most loved, and it is not high maintenance to want to feel seen. You know, I'm someone who's always preferred experiences over material things, and for a long time I didn't really get it. I didn't understand why people needed objects in order to feel love, and then I realized it doesn't matter. Just because I prefer experiences, who cares that other people want that? Everyone's gonna feel seen in different ways, and you need to respect that and also respect your own preferences, that you deserve someone who knows you enough to know what you like. I deserve someone who knows me enough to know that I prefer a planned experience, and somebody else deserves someone who knows that they love flowers, and someone who loves handwritten notes should get a handwritten note. But we don't need to sit here and think that we are so special or we're like up on a pedestal just because we have a different interest or different way of feeling loved and seen. The only person in your relationship is you and your partner, and everyone you see online, that is their relationship. Don't compare yourself to it. You can be inspired, you can think something is so cute and think it's a good idea, but don't let it make you feel insecure if you are getting what makes you feel understood. I think that's just the most important point that I want to make in this, is that people want to talk about Valentine's Day like it's such a consumeristic holiday, so they shouldn't celebrate. I disagree with that because, you know, it's the one day of the year that's about love, and people who say, oh, we can celebrate it any day, why not celebrate it today? But celebrate it in a way that makes sense for you. Don't go in debt over it, and do it special for your relationship and the things that you guys enjoy and the things that make you guys feel the closest. You deserve to feel seen and understood and loved, and that's gonna look different for every couple. You don't need to perform for some online presence, but it's also not bad to be inspired and want some of the things that you see. If your relationship has enough healthy communication, your partner should know how to love you without the noise of the outside world. So enjoy Valentine's Day. I hope you feel seen. I hope you get what you're looking for, but don't let the online world make you insecure. Don't make it blind to what love is supposed to look and feel like. But remember that you should be with someone who understands you, who sees you. That is the most important part. So if you are not getting that out of it, then maybe you're not with the right person. But if they are making you feel seen and it's not spending hundreds of dollars, that's still love, and you're not any less worthy than the people that you see online. Thank you guys for listening to this episode. I just wanted to give a little bit of my take as we see all of these videos start to surface. You know you're gonna see them, you know you're gonna see everything that everyone gets. Don't let that get in the way of your relationship as long as you know that you are in a healthy, loving relationship. If you guys are interested in just listening to more analyzing of online topics and trying to give a more grounded and empathetic take, I would love if you guys follow along. This is Touching Grass, once again, your digital escape. I'm Sophia, and until next time.